And you guys system when you look at multiple ball handlers or that role, how can you do that role?
I still think it's a huge role. I'm not sure, how to answer that properly, but I think when you have ball handlers like Cam out, it does take away from your team just because of what he brings as far as pace and scoring ability and energy to the team. So, but it does help to have other guys who can facilitate on the offensive side of the ball.
What was rotational work going during the week to you'd like to have combinations, certain ones in certain situations?
Yeah.
Hey, how much was so much emphasis was placed over there, and how confident are you going to at least in game one on what you'd like to see how you do it?
Yeah, we spent I don't know how much time, but a great deal of the week just looking at combinations and looking at their rotations from different games, different playoff games, different regular season games. But, it's hard to look at too much because of the new team that they have, a lot like us. So it does go into your planning for the week. And we feel confident about where we are right now. Just have to wait and see how it goes.
So the playing week and long wait for this day.
Mm-hmm.
How much of last year's experience informed the way that you went about approaching this week to be ready for today?
They're different in that, we were waiting to see last year. This year, it's both teams are in the same spot. We kind of we did know who it was going to be at the end of the season. And we probably were both just trying to figure out how much to play, how much to practice, how much to prep, and driving the guys crazy with all of the details, that kind of thing. So it's two different situations for us, but I think you learn from each one as far as how much you give the guys because you don't want them out there thinking, but you also want them to be well prepped.
How much do you need to take into account the conference finals 2 years ago, understanding that both teams set different personnel, but a lot of the same principal players, and use that to prepare for this series?
I mean, I think you can take some things, but it is, I think we both have two different teams. If you think about that series, Cam started, and now he's out. So just that aspect of it is different. But anytime you play the Clippers, you're going to be challenged with changing defenses and, different isolation situations that, make you have to double or stand pat and guard. And that's a hard thing to do against a guy like Kawhi. And so that's a different aspect. So, because he didn't, he wasn't a part of that. So I think you can learn stuff, but I recognize that both of our teams are a little bit different.
Coach, this is your third playoffs now. How would you describe the difference in their mental approach from this week, today, than the last two playoffs starting out? Because those were all different situations.
Yeah. It's tough to say because you're so focused on where we are right now. But if I had to try to compare it, I think the focus is always there. I think we have way more veteran guys on this team that have been in a lot of these situations before, so you don't have to go through as much as we did our first year in the playoffs. We had a much younger team, tons of first-time playoff guys, and so we were just talking to them about the jitters and all that stuff that go with playoff basketball, the physicality. You can tell them all day about it until they experience it. It's just words. We don't have to do that with this group. So that's a bit different, but I'm sure there's other things that I could talk about as far as comparing the two situations. But I think over time, the guys that have been with us from the jump, they've grown every year. as far as understanding what the playoffs are like. And I'm sure they could tell you better stories than me about, how they've grown. Dang it.
Looking at back to the rotation real quick, with like a Damian Lee, like the situation where you could an ish situation. Is that part of your thinking in rotations of, okay, this situation happened, I could go with him. This situation happened, I could go with him.
I mean, it's not like, you rolling the dice, I wouldn't, it's all hopefully purposeful and strategic if those situations came up. But we've done that all year long where, I go back to the Dallas game at Dallas. Ish was not even a part of the rotation in our pre-planning, pregame stuff. And then he ends up coming in and having a huge impact on the game. So from that standpoint, yeah. And that's why player development and staying ready is so important. But I think everything's on the table in the playoffs. I think any coach would tell you that guys have to stay ready and are ready. And you just have to make a decision.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Please give us